Last month, I introduced a new challenge element to my YouTube channel. Challenges that I was going to go out and complete, but I was also going to send you out to complete too. Last month, we all photographed the theme of water, and this month, we've all been out photographing the theme of earth. And now I'm going to sit down and look through the images you've taken and share some of the most creative ones with you all. Well, you all completely blew me away last month with your water photography challenge entries, and this month you've done it yet again with the earth photography challenge. I want to say a huge thank you to each and every one of you that took part in this. There's been so many imaginative and creative images coming in, and the whole purpose of this is to try and inspire you all to get out with your camera, to get creative, to connect with the world, and to try and get that buzz from photography of just expressing yourself through your camera. And as I've said in the last video when we did this last month, this is not a competition, it's merely a chance for you all to get out and just be creative, and you've certainly done that. So what I've done is I've compiled a bank of images, the same as what I did last month. I'm going to talk you through 10 images that I feel are very different and have really embraced this challenge, and then I'll do a slideshow at the end with many of the other images that really spoke to me. And just like last month, these images that I show in this video are not necessarily the best images. They're merely the ones that are a little bit different, more creative, or who have really embraced the challenge. And the purpose of showing these images is to try and inspire you all to see the world in a new light. That, I think, is what my channel is going to be about moving forwards. Inspiring you to see the world in a new light. So without further ado, let's get on and I'll show you these 10 images. Now, many of you went out and did ICM as part of this challenge, and there was many incredible images, and you'll see some more of them in the sort of slideshow at the end. But I've picked this one here because it is such a lovely image that really, I think, encaptures the theme of earth. You've got the beautiful green foliage in this image with the earthy brown tree. And by sort of focusing on this tree in the middle and panning up and down, it's managed to create this beautiful image here with motion, a little bit of mystery, and like I said, the beautiful colours of earth. So of course many of you are getting more and more into ICM, and I think there's a good reason for that, because it's a very creative way to take images, particularly when your standard sort of landscape shots aren't really working. And this one just really spoke to me in many ways, because you've got a clear subject and a clear focus here, but with that beautiful creative element around it. So yeah, beautiful image here, and if you want to see more ICM shots, stay tuned to the slideshow at the end. Now, I spoke quite a lot in the water one about simplicity, and this image is Earth Photography Challenge in its simplest form. This is a stunning image by Andrew, because it's so beautiful and simple. You've got this lovely, almost perfect clouds at the top of the image here, and by framing it the way he has, it's just, you know, you've got the whole cloud in frame here, almost like an umbrella over the image, and it's almost like it's shading this tree here, which is in this beautiful field here, which looks a little bit like a sort of cornfield that's been cut. But this lone tree, in capturing the theme of earth with the beautiful earthy tones there in this field, lovely blue sky, but with a cloud. And of course, many people who do photography will talk about not photographing on sunny days because the light is really harsh, but I believe you can get good images in all weather conditions, and this really showcases that, because it's a beautiful blue sky day, but by using what was available that day and waiting for the moment when this beautiful cloud was right over this lone tree and the main subject, it's created a beautiful, simple image. And like I said last time, often in photography it's more about what you eliminate from your photographs than what you include. So if you've got a lot going on in your image, it can look a bit chaotic, but if you've got a very simple, clear subject like this, the simplicity just makes it so pleasing to the eye. And this image is just, beautiful and simplicity at its best. Now, I had to showcase this image here by Bernie because it is so atmospheric. And this image is almost like showcasing the darker side of Earth. You've got these really atmospheric clouds here with this beautiful shard of light coming through it. And then you've got the tree here, which is almost looks half dead. And then of course you've got this beautiful bird here, which is probably a rook or a jackdaw of some, or a crow of some kind, silhouetted here beautifully against that foreboding sky. And like I said, this is kind of showcasing the darker side of Earth, but also the beauty of how the weather and the mood can shape the planet that we live on, and yeah, how we kind of live in sync with all of this. But I just found this to be a really beautiful image because it's got lovely light, lovely atmosphere, a really striking subject, and the way the tree is here in relation to the sky and the fact there's a bird on it, it just gives it that added character. And if you're not new to my channel, you'll know that I talk quite a lot about including birds in your image because they just add something extra. And I usually try and photograph them flying through a sky, but it's lovely here to have a bird on a tree. It just gives it that character, which is so, so beautiful. Now this image here by Chris B, I've included this because it's a lovely, abstract, simple image. You know, it's so clear here what this photograph is. It's, you know, leaves on a tree, and when you look closer behind there, you can see a little bit of like a tree trunk or some sort of branches there with these leaves, but really it's the shape of this yellow area here that really stood out to me and really showcased the simplicity. And if you want to get imaginative and really creative in your mind, which of course is what this challenge is all about, you can see here in many ways it almost looks like a mouth or like a crocodile or something. That's how I envisaged it when I saw this image for the first time. But I think this image really stood out to me because, as I'm sure many of you have encountered, when you're out photographing trees, bushes, foliage, you often come across an area of beauty. Whether it's a beautiful shape within the tree and the leaves, or whether it's a pocket of colour like we've got here, we all see that. But actually trying to frame that in an image can be so challenging to allow us to eliminate distractions and everything within the scene. Whereas what he's managed to do here is eliminate all of those distractions, and whether that's been done naturally through just the way he's framed this image, or whether he's done a little bit of post-processing afterwards, I'm not sure. But what I do know is that this is a very beautiful, simple image, ensuring that he's captured the most interesting part of the foliage here in an interesting shape and composed in a lovely way that makes it simple and unique. And it just really stood out to me. And although it's simple, you can literally stare at this image, I think, for quite some time and really take in that shape there. So yeah, huge well done with this one, because I imagine it would have been quite a challenge to capture. And then we've got this beautiful image here which showcases the stunning lines within the beach. Now, of course, leading lines is a compositional technique you regularly hear people talking about. And to use this in the Earth Photography Challenge with the beautiful lines here leading through the image to the sand dunes and the grasses behind, it's just showcasing a different part of Earth. I think, because when we think about Earth, there's so many different elements to it. I think that's what I loved about this challenge, and maybe what some of you found a little bit challenging about it, was what is Earth? But of course, sand and beaches and what we walk on when we're at the beach is a part of Earth. And it's lovely to have this lovely beach scene here. Again, it's a lovely sunny light here. It does look like the light is quite low down, so it probably was taken not long after sunrise or not long before sunset to allow for these beautiful side light here, which is allowing for the shapes in the sand to really stand out and have that beautiful shadows and contrast going through the image there. So it's really showcasing how using the earth and using what you're walking on and standing on to try and create a crisp, clear image. Yeah, it just stood out to me, this image, because it was quite different to what a lot of other people submitted, and the beautiful, almost geometric shapes going through it, just lovely. Now this image is really creative. I'm not 100% sure how this was created. I believe in the email that John sent me, he said this was like an ICM shot within his garden, but I'm wondering whether this image was actually taken using a fisheye lens or something like that. But it's beautiful because he's focused on this lovely flower here in the centre of his image, and he's moved around it, which has created this almost warped feel, and it's created an almost circular earth. with the beautiful colour of green to incorporate there within the earth theme, and then with these dark bits around the edge giving it a little bit of a frame. This is a very creative image. It's of course not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but it was so different to anything else that anybody else submitted, and it really stood out to me because it's showcasing how using different lenses, different techniques, and really thinking about the theme and being creative, how you can come away with something so unique and different. And yeah, I just think this is such a powerful image. It really, really is. And yeah, it's just lovely. Really creative, different, and lovely. Now, I absolutely love this shot because here you've got the earth, which looks like mud that's dried and cracked, and you've got a human being's shadow there all over the earth. So it's really showcasing the theme of earth and the world we live on and our human interaction with it. And I just think this is such a powerful image because it's so simple, but the way that it's been captured just really, really stands out. The shadow is very clear and distinct. It's coming in from the corner of the image, giving it almost like a diagonal. You've got lovely light surrounding the shadow where you can see the lovely cracks there in the mud. And it's really nice actually how there's a shadow of what looks like a tree on the left-hand side of the image here, which is almost giving this image a little bit of like a frame. And then when you look at the top right-hand side of the corner, you've got that darker area of mud and earth there as well. So yeah, I almost feel when I look at this image that it's showcasing the human impact on earth or the human relationship with earth. And by using the light and the earth theme and the human within this image, it's just something totally different. And yeah, there was only a few people that submitted images including humans in them, and this one just really, really stood out to me. Now, of course, one thing that really makes up Earth and that shapes our life is the weather. And this image here showcases weather to a beautiful extent. This one, just the moment I saw it, I just thought, wow, it's got so much. You've got the beautiful autumnal colours here in the bottom of the image. You've got the lovely houses and buildings there, which is giving scale, along with the trees that are surrounding them. And because the main one there is white, it's really reflecting the light. And then you've got this beautiful, vast expanse of sky here with this huge cloud and all of this rain coming down. Really, really atmospheric and really showcasing the power of the sky and of earth and of the elements, and almost how small and insignificant us little humans and our homes and everything down on the ground is in relation to what's going on in the sky. And of course what really makes this image is the light. You've got that beautiful light streaming through the image here, allowing all of the earth and the houses and the trees to be illuminated within the scene with that very, very dark background. And some of the best images I've ever seen or even taken myself have been taken in similar weather conditions to this, where you've got foreboding dark skies in one direction and the light coming from behind you and illuminating your subject. So yeah, this image to me just really showcases Earth because it's almost every element of it encapsulated together, which is so, so beautiful. This image is just incredible. I cannot stop looking at this photograph. And many of you submitted images of fungi and mushrooms, which is understandable because at this time of year they're pretty much everywhere if you live in certain parts of the world. But this one stood out to me because of the artistic, abstract element to it. I mean, when you look at this and you see the shapes and the textures and the patterns within it, you've got these three areas here of the mushrooms that are really standing out. You've got the beautiful lines going through the scene, both within each individual section, but also within each section, you've got the different lines of the different colours. And to find fungi like this that hasn't been broken or eaten by an animal and that's as almost fresh and perfect as this is very, very, very difficult to find. So to find one that's as beautiful, as pristine and as textured as this is such a rare find, and then to capture it like this, the contrast in this image and the subtle changes in tones and colours between the blacks and the browns and the yellows in this image, it's just incredible. I can't stop looking at this photograph, and I hope you guys enjoy this one too, because wow, it is just, it's so sharp as well. It's I think one of these images that in many ways it's something that I would always dream of capturing. It's just as perfect almost, you know, it's pretty much as perfect, I feel personally, my own opinion, as sort of like an abstract image can get in nature. Just beautiful. And the final image is this shot here, which I've chosen because it is so different. You've got the bare earth, which is the main theme throughout this image, and then you've got this beautiful rainbow refracted light on the earth. And this rainbow refracted light was taken from a lantern, so the light was streaming through this lantern and being cast on the land. But what I loved about this is more, I guess maybe from a spiritual standpoint, because it's really showcasing, I guess, Earth, the creativity of Earth, the beautiful, you know, the fact that Earth is such a dark, dense colour, but there's so much light to life. And I just think this image is very creative because it's very different to what anybody else captured. And although it's of course including something unnatural in it, such as the light reflecting through this lantern, the colours of it are resembling something like a rainbow and resembling the beauty and the colour that can be found on Earth when we open up our eyes to it. And for that reason, I had to choose it, because every time I skipped past this image when I was looking, you know, through which ones to include, I just kept coming back to it. And I think the main thing when you really look at it is thinking about the colours of each landscape on Earth. So you've got the blues here, which can represent the sea and bodies of water and the sky. You've got the greens, which of course can resemble the trees and the leaves. The yellow, which can resemble like cornfields, certain flowers, the sun. You've got orange, which can resemble the beach and the desert. And then you've got red, which I guess can resemble maybe rock and rock beds and again sort of flowers and foliage. But they're all colours that make up Earth. They're all our primary colours that every other colour is derived from, refracted beautiful light onto the surface of the Earth here. So I just thought it was a very creative image, so different to anything else anybody came up with, and for that reason I just had to share it. So those were the 10 images that I thought were different and that really stood out, and I hope they've given you some food for thought. Like I said, they're not necessarily the best images, but they're the ones that really embrace this challenge, that are different, and that I've chosen to share with you in the hope that it'll help to get you to think a little bit differently about the opportunities that are available within photography. And if you'd like to get involved with the next challenge, I will be announcing what that is in the next video. So stay tuned for that if you want to get involved. But now we will end the video with a lovely slideshow with the remaining images that really stood out from this challenge. And there's a number of interesting photographic techniques and editing styles included in this. So again, I hope it will really give you some food for thought when you're out and about with your camera to try and come away with something that little bit different. have it. A huge thank you to every single one of you that took part in this challenge. I'm sure you can agree there's some incredible images submitted. If you want to get involved in the next challenge, stay tuned because I'll be announcing the next subject in the next video.